Marifat School presents The Conference of the Plants. Written by Reza Nazami. Chapter 33. The Final Words.
Previously on. In the previous chapter, Turnip and Palm argued over how to help Chamomile's sadness. Walnut intervened, reminding them that their lack of cooperation and understanding of kindness needed to be addressed first. He explained their roles. Palm, as divine intellect, should seek guidance from the heavens and work from the heart to solve problems. He emphasized that the garden was like a school where each plant had a role, both internal and external. Now, let's move on to the final chapter. The final words.
The next morning, Almond awoke with 1,000 questions swirling in his mind. He went to Walnut and said,
"Oh, Walnut, I never realized what an important role I play in this garden. Until now, I simply listened to your words and followed your advice. But now that you have entrusted me with a responsibility, I ask you to tell me more. About yourself, about me, and about what you have in mind."
Walnut replied,
"My mission here is coming to an end, and I am about to depart on a journey. But before I leave, I shall hold a small ceremony for myself and speak my final words. I will share the rest of my advice and untold thoughts in the last chapter of this book, in hopes that it may serve as a guide for those who seek the truth."
Almond asked,
"Why do you speak so mysteriously and in symbols? Do you always have to speak in such veiled language? Why not express your thoughts in simple and clear language? Many people might not understand your true meaning."
Walnut gave a bitter smile and answered,
"You are right, Almond. I wish it were that simple. I remember when I was younger, I used to speak more plainly and directly. But over time, I saw the harmful effects that such frank words could have. For a few, my lessons were helpful, but for many, they proved harmful. Too many people misused my teachings. So as I grew older, I became more cautious in revealing truths. I often chose silence, unless I felt it absolutely necessary to speak."
Almond asked again,
But how can your teachings hurt anyone? Can someone really be harmed by hearing the truth?
Walnut sighed deeply.
It's hard to believe, but sadly it's true. Let me give you an example. I once told my students to rid themselves of anger, for it is like a fire that will consume your harvest and all those you hold dear. One student heard this, and instead of applying it to himself, turned it into a weapon. He used it to scold and condemn his wife and family. That false student of mine accused every angry person he met and grew bitter toward them. In another instance, I taught that the consequences of our good and bad actions return to us, that one day we will taste the pain we once inflicted on others. Then a heartless student of mine, who lacked compassion and sought any excuse for revenge, used this very lesson to avoid helping others in need. Are these two examples not enough to explain why I changed my ways?"
Almond shook his head sorrowfully and said,
Why did it turn out this way, dear Walnut? Is there truly no way to help them?
Walnut replied,
Earth is a young and dark planet. That immaturity is the root of many of its problems. I cannot say much more about the darkness of earth, for the more I say, the more trouble I will create. But in short, the egoic mind of any creature can obstruct its proper growth. The earthly elements, though abundant, can significantly hinder proper growth.
Almond asked again.
If you can't speak clearly, then why insist on sharing your message at all, especially in such a complicated and indirect way?
Walnut paused in thought.
In the past, I wrote some good books, but sadly, they were not used as they should have been. However, if you've read The Conference of the Birds by Attar of Nishabur, you'll see how inspiring it is, how it stirs the essence into movement. Inspired by Attar's style, I wrote a book of my own called The Conference of the Plants. I don't expect readers to fully understand all I've said. I only hope the positive vibrations of my words will reach them through the lines of this book. Many readers will simply enjoy it and feel joy. A few who seek the truth will reflect, and they will learn. But my greatest hope is that may no one use my words to spread hatred or hostility. For as I said, our young and dark earth is already a fertile ground for anger and hate.
Almond asked curiously.
By the way, what does the tomato symbolize in your book?
Walnut patiently replied.
Tomato represents our emotions and feelings. Her presence in the garden brings joy and delight to all. She helps foster connection with others. But if not cared for properly, or if she's left unharvested too long, she will rot and stink, spreading decay throughout the garden. When our emotions are in our control, they radiate positive energy, bringing joy and happiness. But if not properly directed, they become the root of all our struggles. So be mindful of your emotions. Observe them closely and use them well. In fact, when the time to harvest this fruit arrives, you must inform the gardener without delay.
Almond, who had listened to Walnut's words with eager attention, asked again.
You've spoken so beautifully, Walnut, but you never said, why did you stay in this garden for so long?
Walnut answered.
Because I was the teacher of this garden. In truth, I was the master of wisdom and insight here. It was my duty to share the wisdom and knowledge gifted to me by the sun and the gardener with those who were eager to learn. My task was to guide others to master the egoic mind through the light of divine intellect. My time is nearing its end, and I shall soon leave this earth. But as long as this earth exists, it will continue to benefit from my wisdom.
Almond asked again.
Why were you created to live such a long life?
Walnut replied.
My lifespan reflects the depth of my divine spirit. With each spring's rebirth, I carried with me all the wisdom of previous years. This is the nature of divine intellect. It does not perish with death. With every spring and each rebirth, it emerges once again in a new form. But turnip is harvested every year. He returns to the world with a new seed and fresh experience. He loses all knowledge from his previous life. The new turnip is not the same as the old. I have met many turnips over the years, and I know that, unlike divine intellect, which remains within the soul. Earthly intellect must begin anew each time it is born.
Almond asked excitedly.
So, you came to teach the people of Earth, is that right?
Walnut said,
No, that's not how it is. While I carry much wisdom, it was in the school of the earth that this wisdom was truly refined. I shared everything I knew, and whatever I didn't know, I learned through practice.
Almond said with wonder.
So you both taught and were taught. How fascinating.
Walnut replied firmly.
Wisdom is the delicate blend of opposites, guided by knowledge, harmony and perception. Learning wisdom never ends. For however much you learn, there is always more to discover. Each person has their own share of wisdom, and wisdom itself exists in many different levels.
Almond asked,
Can you explain more simply? What is wisdom?
Walnut said,
Let me give you an example. Imagine a skilled cook combining different ingredients to prepare a dish. The elements may be contrasting, yet their blend creates something delicious. So, cooking is the art of harmonizing contradictions. Creatures in this world are also made of many opposing elements. When someone learns to bring these contradictions together, creating something beautiful from their union, then they have found wisdom. My destiny was not only to possess inner wisdom, but also to attain wisdom in the outer world. So in this very life, I refined and deepened my wisdom. Now I know that when the sun deems the time right, he will summon the gardener, the sacred spirit of this garden, to lift me from the soil.
Almond, delighted by the stream of insights, asked once more.
So, who is this Master Onion? You never really spoke about him. He always opposed you. Why didn't you ever challenge him or say he was lying?
Walnut answered,
The land on which our garden rests is itself shaped like an onion. Onion represents the egoic intellect. It's interesting to know that he isn't a liar. He simply speaks realities from his own perspective. But his logic is contrary to that of the sun. Every creature born on earth either reaches for the sky or stays rooted in the soil. If it is of the heavens, it moves toward the sun. But if it is of the earth and remains here, it will inevitably engage with Onion's logic.
Almond asked,
Can you tell me a bit more about Onion?
Walnut said gently,
Let us leave it there. If I were to say more about him and his logic, it would take an entire book of its own.
Almond asked quietly,
So now that your story is ending, how do you feel?
Walnut replied,
The earth has been both my strictest and greatest teacher, and I am deeply grateful for all I have learned. She has brought me much pain and caused me to shed many tears. No words can truly capture the depth of this pain. And yet I thank her for every trial, because in this world there is no such thing as growth without pain, or progress without effort. Without those pressures, my soul would never have evolved. This growth is only visible at the end of the path. As I reached toward the sun, I came to understand once more that I had never truly been of the earth. So soon, I will thank this great teacher of mine and take flight toward the sky. And you too, Almond. When you reach the final page of your own book and prepare to part from the earth, you will come to recognize the elevation of your soul, and you will give thanks for every force that nurtured your growth, even if the weight of pain brought you to tears day and night.
With a heavy heart, Almond asked,
Do you have any final piece of advice for your readers?
Walnut replied,
My entire journey has been a continuous stream of guidance and insight. For those willing to reflect, my every word, action, and deeds have offered valuable lessons. But if I were to offer one closing thought, my final word, it would be this: the gift of holding opposites together belongs only to hearts filled with love. Love is what binds the pieces of a heart into harmony. Just as a mother's affection unites the father and the children within a family. But if love fades from your heart and hatred, resentment, blame, selfishness, anger, or lust take its place, those very opposites will begin to tear you apart. Thus your pain, your peace, and ultimately your salvation are all shaped by the compassion within your heart. Your kindness must be strong and steady so that it can grow with resilience and grace, even in the depths of the earth and in its harshest conditions. And remember, your love should not depend on whether others are good or bad. Let it flow from within you, like a clear and life-giving spring, flowing purely from within. If your attention remains inward and tend to the state of your own heart, the seed of love within you will blossom, and you will find your path to salvation. But if your eyes are turned outward, placing expectations upon others to fulfill your needs, then love will be replaced by expectation. And in this way, you may create disharmony where unity once could have flourished. Also be watchful. Do not let the clashes of the outer world disturb the harmony of your inner world. External contradictions are woven into the fabric of this physical world, reflecting the wisdom that shaped the earth. Yet each soul is responsible for cultivating harmony and balance within, despite the storms that rage without. With a prayer for the elevation of the hearts of all beings upon this earth,